You can invite people, but as Tish said, you got to warm them up first. You can't just we've all heard this before. You can't show up on the first date and link drop. All of a sudden, you're a salesperson, which we all know is categorized as like the lowest value on the old social media food chain. You don't want to be the salesperson.
Welcome to the Sold Out Sales Podcast, the podcast that will equip both the seasoned sales professional and the more reluctant seller with mindset shifts and strategies needed to succeed in a competitive marketplace. Welcome back to the Sold Out Sales Podcast. So glad to be in your presence and to have you back in mind. I am so appreciative for those of y'all who are like OGs hanging out with me every single week, me and my amazing guests that come. And you know by now, every now and then there's someone that I just can't get enough of and I want to have back over and over again. And our guest today is one of those, and she's definitely someone that I admire tremendously. You'll get a chance for those of y'all to meet, others to see or hear again. It's Lindsay Anderson, and she's going to help us to turn our social media into a client getting machine. She's the founder of the BAM agency. And today I want to talk to her about AI optimized client getting systems and her social media sales framework that is fire. Look, it's so good. So I'd love to introduce you to Lindsay Anderson. Lindsay, not only do I want you to introduce yourself and say hello, but you know me. So tell us something we're not going to learn about you because we've heard you a few times by now. Not going to learn about you in your bio or on your website.
Okay. Hey, Tish, how's it going? Thanks for having me back. You know, I love to talk to you, and we definitely align on sales and how to go get those clients. So it's a real pleasure to be back on the show.
Oh, so glad to have you.
So I think one of maybe something interesting about me that you didn't mention in the bio or that really hasn't been mentioned is I had the opportunity to be on Netflix last year. And so I was on a reality show. It was crazy. I was on Netflix. It was number one, trending for several weeks. We were on billboards from New York to California. It was pretty wild there, Tish.
It was, and I loved watching you. I was like, every time you come on, I'm like, I know her.
Yeah, here I am.
Well, that is amazing. Lindsay, you have this unique ability, and you know, look, you can verify this because people might say, oh, I do this, I do that. But you know, when you do something online, I will often sign up because I want to be in the room with you. I want to hear what you're teaching because I just believe in what you do. Something that you do that's, in my opinion, different than the average sales trainer, sales teacher, sales coach is you really help people to use social for sales in a very powerful way. Can you kind of talk to us about how your system works? Share with us what that system is and why is it so effective for, especially a service-based business owner?
Yeah, I think it's really important to understand that there's a couple of players on social media. And so the two most important ones for your audience are there's two kinds of people on social media. There's the entertainers, and their whole goal is to play to the algorithm, get as many eyeballs as possible. Do not care who those eyeballs are. Could be anybody as long as they're watching, and I'm clocking in those minutes. And so totally valid way to be on social media. They get paid by the social media platforms because they are the product and they're getting paid for the eyeballs. So that is not the kind of social media that I teach. That is something different. That's one kind of person who's on social media. Yeah. The other kind of person is those business owners and those individuals who are on social media and their whole goal is not watch time. It is conversions. How many people can I get to buy my product or service or program? And it's really important to understand this distinction because when business owners come to me, they frequently come with, these myths of I need a whole bunch of likes and a whole bunch of views, and that's all that matters. And that's like easy enough to get, Tish. Like all you need to do not all, but there's definitely a science to it. But like what you need to do is like post shocking content and entertaining content and content about your ex-husband and cat videos and UFO videos. And you can start really getting those likes and views. But as a business owner, you're not going to be able to get conversions. And so the social media that I teach is how to show up on social media like a business owner, how to generate high quality relationships on social media, and actually convert them into your programs and services. So I'll give you a quick example. Just finished up a launch with a client of mine. He's a financial coach for real estate agents. So he helps real estate agents get off that financial roller coaster by training them in profit first. Now, he is not an influencer on social media, but certainly we were able to get to his $50,000 launch within 1 week. He sold $50,000 worth of coaching programs because we employed a high quality DMing and social strategy. And I know DMing, like everybody's like, oh, we hate that. But it was natural. It was amazing. And we went in 2 weeks before the launch, and this is all we did. He speaks on a lot of stages. He knows a ton of real estate agents on social media. So a couple weeks before the launch, we're in social media starting conversations. Hey, why are you following me? Is it for the dog reels? Is it for the real estate content? Is it for financial information? And we just kind of like start a conversation. Then a couple of weeks before the launch, we reach out to all those people, hundreds of them that we had started a very natural relationship with and said, hey, do you want to come to my challenge? And over 50% said yes. Wow. So there he has started the sales process 2 weeks before the launch even kicks off. He's posting very personal content on social media talking about it. And then all of a sudden we got a warm audience to launch our coaching program too. And so that is the kind of thing that I teach and what my specialty really is in social media.
First of all, I love you. I love you. I mean, like for real, you are so brilliant because this is the thing. And I just said it. I spoke at NABO 2 days ago. And I was like, if one more person connects with me on LinkedIn and then immediately jumps into my inbox and says, hi, buy my stuff, I'm just going to scream. Because in this day and age, we should know better. But what you're saying is, and which I know very well, if you will just be human and connect with people authentically, have real genuine conversations, find out what they really want, need, and like about you, and then invite them to something that's going to help solve their problems, we can actually get them to come and convert. Is that what you're saying, Lindsay?
That's what I'm saying. I'm saying that. That's true. And I want to mention something here. Like I mentioned that I link dropped there. Actually, we didn't drop a link. We literally were like, hey, thought you might be interested in this. If you are, I'll send you a link.
Yeah.
And we showed up as an act of like service. It was the people who were like, I'm interested in your financial info. And we had something very naturally that they would be interested in. So you can invite people, but as Tish said, you got to warm them up first. You can't just we've all heard this before. You can't show up on the first date and link drop. All of a sudden you're a salesperson, which we all know is categorized as like the lowest value on the old social media food chain. You don't want to be the salesperson.
Yeah. So now for that person, Lindsay, who has been messing this up, who's been going into inboxes and turning people off and being a little annoying and all those things, what would you say? How can they pivot to really shift the way that they're showing up online and in these inboxes and, the way that they're connecting with people to shift the way people are viewing them and maybe be willing to hear what they have to say?
Yeah, I have two thoughts on that. The first one is you got to slow down. Yeah. Okay. You got to slow down the sale. If you are desperate for sales, if you are desperate for money, like this social media game probably isn't for you. It takes time. I hate to be the bearer of bad news. I wish I could make you $1 billion today, but it takes time. And it's like it's a long play. Yeah. Okay. It's not a short-term play. So you got to slow it down, and that's going to prevent you from doing those link drops. And the second thing, Tish, that I like to do, and now that we're post-COVID, I hear this so much, is that people love in person. I love meeting people in person, and I love connecting with people in person. It seems so much more authentic. So the mindset I like to get my clients into is try to channel that energy of in person. What would you say if you were in person with this person? Look, if you're on LinkedIn, look at their bio. Maybe they're hosting something. Maybe they were recently on a podcast. Maybe they had a promotion or something. Like, say this to them. Just slow it down a little bit. Don't treat people like they're a cog in your machine and just treat them like people. And you can make really amazing relationships on social media just by doing that.
Look, have you and I, Lindsay, ever been in the same room together?
No.
But you're like my bud, for real. So
I know. I think if we met, we would be like, it would be like we had met each other 100 times.
For sure. But it's literally like, how do you connect with people in a way that feels authentic to them, authentic to you, and it can build a real relationship? I literally consider you a friend, and we've never been in the same room together. So I'm hoping that people who are listening is like, hey, let me shift my mindset about the way we connect. The other thing you said that is so powerful is slow down. I always say if you slow down your process, you'll speed up your results. And people tend to think, people tend to think you got to meet someone. And I think there's just this scarcity energy that forces people to like rush through a process. It's almost like if I don't say it now, they're not going to like me. It's kind of that kind of energy that comes across. And so please, 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 those of you all who are listening to this episode, hear our hearts on this, because it is so powerful to be able to connect with someone in a real, authentic way when everyone else is trying to just get something from them. It's a whole different world, right?
It is a whole different word. And I think, my big warning is like this AI situation. A lot of people just take off to ChatGPT and write me a reply and write me this thing and do that. And I'm a huge fan of AI. I'm not saying don't use it, but I'm saying like, I don't know, Tish, what do you think about this? Is like, even if I have ChatGPT write something and it sounds and looks like me and feel like it's something I would say, you still feel it differently if I had written it. And I don't know what that is, what that resonance is, but you just kind of know.
No doubt.
And so watch the AI usage because people can tell. And that is a certain kind of person that responds and replies to that. They're not the high ticket buyers because they can see right through it. If you're not selling widgets where you can totally go to ChatGPT and do that crap, if you are trying to sell with relationships, they can just tell.
No doubt. I always say, even with my team, they help create a lot of our content. And we use a lot of tools like AI, but I'm like, do not put that out until we Tishify it. It has to have my soul in it, right? It has to feel like something, not only that I would say, but that people would hear from me. And that's the difference, right? It's like, we stand on stages, we connect with people on a regular basis. And if I can't get that same result or that same response online that I get when I'm standing on a stage, there's a disconnect. And I got to figure out what that gap is and fill that gap. And for me, it literally is just like, how do we put the soul of the writer, the owner or the leader in that business back into that content so that it doesn't come across as third party? It comes across as there's a little bit of something missing from it. I'm glad you said something about AI because I kind of want to go into that. Have you ever gone to a networking event or a conference and found that although you made great connections and you walked away with a stack full of business cards, you still didn't have a real plan for how to get a good return on your investment of both time and money? Well, let me tell you, having a networking and sales planner is a way for you to be more intentional about the way that you network.
Hey, I'm Susan Gladstein. I'm a functional nutrition and metabolism specialist, and I got connected with Tish because she is a rock star at systems and sales. And so I downloaded the planner to help get my brain organized as I went through a rebrand and launched a new course. And it's really helped me sort of get things out of my head and onto paper so that I can actually do follow-ups and not just rely on my brain. So far it's rocking my world and making my business systems that were non-existent actually have some sort of structure. So I love it. It's amazing. And I'm so grateful that our paths have crossed.
I've been working with sales professionals for almost 15 years. And one of the things that I find is that when they don't have a plan, they do nothing. They sit at their desk and wonder what to do. Well, with this networking and sales planner, you have profit producing activities for every single day of the week. It tells you where to go, what to say, even gives you prompts as to how to interact with people that you don't know. If you're an introvert and you feel like this isn't for you, I have already thought of you because I understand exactly how introverts think. So this gives you the tools enabling you to be armed with words, with language, so that you can make your networking more profitable.
Hey everyone, Rachel Neighbors here from solo401k.com. And I wanted to take a moment to talk about how awesome this sales networking planner is that Tish put out. So as you can see, I have it on my Remarkable. That's my sort of e-ink planner. And this sales planner has been so helpful for me. So I'm an old school pay-per-click marketer. I do Google ads, Facebook ads, and I know how to turn advertising into profit. But I didn't know how to turn network sales into profit. And when I met Tish, this woman literally wrote the book on networking called, Networking is Not a One-Night Stand. And she's put that experience and that energy and those valuable tips into this networking sales planner. And I just think that it can be so powerful for you in your business. I know it's been really helpful for me and mine. One thing that Tish told me is, Rachel, when you meet someone, put them into your planner and then follow up with them like they're a lead that you've generated on Google Ads or that you followed up with or that you've generated on Facebook. And that has been so helpful and transformative in my business. So thank you, Tish, for this awesome planner.
Maybe you don't even like networking. You say things like, networking doesn't work. Well, let me tell you, when you have a plan in place, you have some intention, and you have the tools to be able to make it work, you will see a different result. My new networking and sales planner is a game changer. It's the difference between you going to an event, wandering around and walking away without any purpose and without any new money, and walking into an event with a plan, with a purpose, and being able to convert new clients into your business. No one wants to feel inauthentic and pushy or even salesy when following up. So frequently we just don't do it at all. Well, the profitable follow-up formula, which is in the back of your networking and sales planner, will give you the tools and the language and the frequency with which you should be following up so that it feels very authentic. It feels genuine and natural both to you and to the people that you're reaching out to. Go to tishtimes.com/planner to get your digital or physical version of your planner.
Hi, my name is Cheryl James from CL James Consulting, and I just want to tell you a little bit about how awesome this networking sales planner is. I started intentionally networking at the beginning of this year, and I have been using my planner on a regular basis, not only to get inspiration, but to track the people I want to meet and the people I have met, and to make sure that I follow up with them from week to week. So if you are looking to network intentionally and hold yourself accountable, this planner is a must-have.
And once you get your planner, you'll also receive a video series that's going to teach you how to maximize your networking and how to use this planner to get the best result and best return on your investment of both time and money. If you are ready to stop wasting time with networking and turn your networking into a sales machine, then go to tishtimes.com/planner and grab your networking and sales planner. I want to talk about the AI client getting systems that you've created. And tell me a little bit about how do you not only use it in a way that feels real and authentic for you and the people that are reading it, but how do you use it in a way that converts sales?
Yeah, so AI, like I said, it's a real situation, okay?
Right.
And they would say there's some studies out that say over 90% of the content that's going to be out there in the next year is going to be AI generated.
For sure.
So that is crazy news on one hand, but on the other hand, it is a real opening for people, if those who show up authentically and don't use it, to really stand above the pack.
Wow.
But to get back to your question, AI has sped a lot of things up that we do. Things that if I were to analyze someone's funnel or this coaching launch that I just recently did, it would usually take me 6 or 7 hours with my brain working on all of this stuff, outlining the funnel. How are we going to do all this? How are we going to close people? What does this all say? And now, putting people through our AI client generation system, we have all of the formulas laid out so I can put a lot of stuff into AI and it does a lot of the organization of my thoughts for me. Then it can come back to me and I will spend an hour on it, verify that it is what we want. Put in those authentic pieces so that it actually goes out and connects with the audience. So what you used to have to pay $10,000 for, now the price is much less because my time with it is so much less. And so that's really what the AI piece is. It's not that we're just kind of sticking you in and spitting out some AI. It's how can we use that strategically to utilize our frameworks and our methodologies to get there faster.
Oh my God, I love that so much because if I can speed up my time, you said it, I don't have to charge you as much if I'm not giving you 8, 10, 12 hours of my personal time. That's amazing. So I want to give you an example of something you taught me. You don't even know it, but you taught me like maybe a year or so ago. So people, I just did my retreat. You know, I do the quarterly retreats. I just had a retreat and I was telling them of the things that they need to be doing to show up authentically and have these connections online. And when I say the level of overwhelm that was just painted on their faces, it was literally like, oh, it was palpable. But then I shared with them some of the things we're talking about today. You taught me this. So I'm currently in studio hosting the podcast. But instead of me doing this, like running all over the place and doing all the things. So look, okay, you guys are getting my secrets here. I have 8 outfits. I have different earrings. I do this every other month. I come into studio every other month. I shoot 8 episodes. So I have 2 months of episodes shot at one time because you taught me about getting my what do you call it? My content days done in a way that really works so it doesn't feel overwhelming. So tell me a little bit about what other ways do you help entrepreneurs, business owners, sales leaders to create systems that overcome that overwhelm that will stop us from getting online, from showing up the way that we need to be showing up? What are some other ways that you would teach people to get over that?
Yeah. So first of all, how great do you feel after you videotape 2 months worth of content?
I'm like, done. Don't have to do that again for another month and a half. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yes.
Yeah. And like no one will know it on the other side and it remains authentic and it's still the Tish that we love and want to hear and all these things, but she just does it in one day. That is so awesome.
Thank you for that.
We do something real similar with our clients because I think, you know, you and I are on video a lot, but like nobody likes video.
Right.
Okay. You know, like I don't think I've ever heard anybody that I love pulling out my phone and doing those talking head videos. Right. So we do something real similar with our clients that you're doing today. We'll create a set of talking points. We'll interview them for an hour a month, and then we'll create the month's worth of content based on that one interview.
Yeah.
And so, and you're always more natural when you're talking to someone than just getting your phone out and like trying to think about what to say. And so that is definitely something that we teach our clients and we work with our clients on. And I recommend that to everybody is what Tish said, because here's the thing about social media. It's a real situation because it is all about consistency. It is not about your hair. It is not about really, I mean, it is about what you say. You need like a consistent message, but it is about being consistent on social media. And so if you're getting up and videoing every day, you're taking time getting in the mindset, you're taking time putting on your outfit, like it is eating up all of your time. So batch creating this is so, so important. And whether that's once a week is great, once a month like my clients, that is fantastic. But whatever it is, do that.
Yeah.
The second thing I highly recommend is that a lot of people are fairly short-sighted on social media. So they'll like, okay, what do I feel like talking about today? And then they'll just get on and they'll post. And they have no real long-term system or goals. And that's going to hurt your business because if you don't have a long-term plan on how you're going to keep marketing and long-term bringing those clients in, you will always be on this feast and famine roller coaster. So you need a long-term marketing plan. So plan out your launches, Plan out what you want to say at least 3 months. Be like, this is the point of why I'm posting this because I'm getting ready for a launch on this day. So I got to have 3 weeks of content kind of leading up to that. Or how are you actually going to be converting these guys? Because it is a myth that if people are watching your social media and they even watch 25 videos of you, that they're going to even take the time to go to your profile and figure out how to even work with you. You have to have that conversion piece on there.
Good gracious.
There was a lot there. I kind of wandered there.
So good.
There's a lot.
So good because I was guilty of that for a long time just because I did not know.
We all are.
You feel like you got to be just consistent, but consistency without strategy is a waste of time.
It is. It's just noise.
It is. It's just noise. And then you have to compete with all the other things. But when you have we call in our company, all roads lead to ... Right?
I love that.
Right. So it's like if we're doing an event, all roads lead to Q1 retreat. All roads lead to sales and slippers, which is what we're doing next, by the way.
So good.
DJ party for sales planning. But it's like if we don't have a strategy around what we're doing and getting there, then you're right. We're just showing up, we're talking, but we're not really connecting. And it's definitely not leading to anything. So can we go back to what you said about the conversion strategy? Because how often do you hear someone have an amazing video? They get online, they do all this great thing, and then you're just like, you almost feel like they left you hanging because they didn't give you any details about how do I participate? How do I get this great transformation that you're speaking of? How do I connect with you? Why do you think that happens so frequently? And what's an easy way that people can do it that doesn't feel weird to them? Because I think people don't do it because in my world, my clients often tell me, it feels really weird to share my heart and then ask them for something. I'm like, girl, stop it. So what are some of the things you would say?
It's okay. Yeah. I have a really great client story on this.
Okay.
So I had a client and he is a dean at one of the major colleges here in the United States.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what he does full time, but he really wants to build out his coaching business, helping other deans who are brand new to leadership positions in colleges, basically get into their new leadership position and really succeed and excel.
Mm-hmm.
So he's on LinkedIn. He gets hundreds of likes, tons of comments on his higher education content. And he's wondering, he comes to me, he finds me and he's like, Lindsay, I have so much engagement on social media. All of these deans from other colleges know me, but I can't really fill up my coaching programs and I don't know why. So this is a classic case of everybody knows you, everybody likes you, everyone's engaging, but they have no clue that you are a leadership development coach.
Wow.
And so he felt the same way because he wanted to maintain his positioning as I'm a dean. I don't want to be like a salesperson. I don't want to be like selling all the time because that's going to lower my position as a dean. Mm-hmm. So what we did, and this was on LinkedIn specifically, is first of all, you got to make it clear what you do. So we update the bio to make sure they know they can get on a leadership development session with him. Mm-hmm. We update the cards, which are featured cards on LinkedIn, so that anytime somebody looks at his profile, it is very clear that he offers a leadership development session. Mm-hmm. And then at the end of his post, we simply say, hey, my name is X. I am a leadership and development coach for deans in universities that recently been promoted to other positions. If you have a free call, click on the link in my bio.
Wow.
And just letting people know that you offer this as a service. And they were salivating because they need his service. Yeah. Just a simple, at the end of his post, we put a couple of dashes and just said, hey, I'm Kevin. Mm-hmm. And this is just what we put out there. And just making it that clear allowed him to start getting those consult calls and fill up his coaching calendar. It wasn't anything crazy or special. Yeah. The next thing he did was offer what I call an invite-only event, mm-hmm. which is a custom masterclass. He reached out to the hundreds of people that comment. He shoots them a quick DM. Thanks for your comment on this. Wanted to let you know I'm hosting this session, which you'd probably be interested in. And they were, and we were able to get conversions all based on that as well. So it was pretty, for me, that's what I do. It's pretty easy to see he had this problem of, I have all this engagement, but no conversions. And it's that conversion piece that really, that you got to have a strategy around.
I love that. And I think that people feel like, oh, I have to make this quote unquote offer which makes them a little more hesitant. But I'm like, if you can just get them in your space. If you have something that's amazing, you know that they have a problem that you can solve, just get them in your space. So I love that. Have this free call. Have this opportunity for them to come and hear you or interact with you in a private, I call them roundtables, but same thing. It's like, get them out of the online space into your space. And then the magic begins to happen at that point.
It's so true.
Yeah,
So true.
love that. So you talk about authentic storytelling in social media, in a way to use it. And something you said, I want to say, I heard you say this maybe 6, maybe 8 months ago, a long time ago, about maintaining or really showcasing your expertise. So not like watering down your content with all the other things that are not really related to you as a business owner. And that being said, still using authentic storytelling. How do you marry the two? Really managing your expert platform online while still using authentic storytelling to drive sales. Tell us a little bit more about your thoughts around
This is my favorite thing. Okay,
Yay!
so I don't know, Tish, have you ever seen this show on the History Channel called Alone?
I have, yes, definitely. I love it, actually.
Okay, yeah, me too. Of course, because
yeah,
of course. Of course we agree on that. So for the listeners that haven't seen this, the premise is very simple. They're gonna drop you off in the wilderness and they're gonna out in the middle of nowhere by themselves alone.
Probably cold.
And yes, in the cold Alaska with bears and stuff. And they're there to videotape themselves doing basic human needs, which is staying warm, feeding myself, and sleeping. Like, what are my sleeping arrangements? So if I were to tell you there was a show about some guy eating, sleeping, and like walking around, this would be a really yawner of a show, right? But it's not. These are very simple human tasks. And the show is so compelling is because they're documenting what they're doing. Hey, I'm out fishing for fish and I fell on this rock and it's 40 degrees in the water and I had to swim out and do this thing. And like, it's the storytelling that's so compelling. So that's what I tell my clients. Yes, if you post about your recent horrible divorce and what your ex-wife did, that's going to get a likes and views because we all like to hear the dish. Okay.
Right.
But we don't want to be posting that because that ruins your authority and your positioning. And like, it's just a little too much for people. Okay. We want to remain professional. So what I tell people is take the alone approach and simply document what you're doing. So here Tish is, she just did it. Okay. Here Tish is, she's like, I have 8 outfits. I'm recording 8 episodes of this podcast today. If she is on her phone documenting even her 8 outfits and what this looks like and what the setup is and how seriously she takes this, that is very, very compelling storytelling. And it's telling us a couple of things. It's telling us that Tish has a podcast studio. She has a really amazing podcast. She puts a lot of work into it. She takes all this seriously and she can talk very naturally about the podcast without saying, listen to my podcast.
Right. Girl, this is so good. This is one of the times where I'm like, oh, I hate when the time comes to an end because
I know. We'll have to do this again.
We got to like hang out. Let's figure some time to meet in the middle, grab some coffee.
I'll come to your next retreat.
Oh, please.
Yes, that would be awesome.
Oh my God, I would love that so much. So tell people, if you will, how can they learn about, number one, the social media sales machine framework, or anything else you want to share? And what's the best way for them to connect with you?
Yeah, all you need to do is head over to my website, go to thebamagency.com. That's for build and monetize, but you can hit it at thebamagency.com. I'm always giving free workshops. I'm always posting on social media, and you'll find everything that you need over there.
Well, I will tell them that your workshops are completely lit. They're amazing. I always walk away with new strategies and things that I can implement in my business. And so go connect with Lindsay. You will not be disappointed. Lindsay, thank you so much for being a part of my life and being a repeat guest, shall we say, on the Sold Out Sales podcast. I really appreciate you.
Appreciate you too, Tish. Thank you.
For sure. Those of you all who've heard something, make sure you put something into practice that you learned. I'm going to give you a quick scripture. The Bible says we cannot be hearers only and not doers of the word. So look, listen to what you just heard, Put something into practice. You will see change in your business if you take even one thing that Lindsay has talked about today and put it into practice. We'll see you back here next week. Thank you so much for being here with us today. Thanks for listening to the Sold Out Sales Podcast. I would be so appreciative if you would show me and my amazing guests some love by leaving a review on your favorite podcasting platform. Also, go over to tishtimes.com/resource page and make sure you pick up your sales and networking handbook, especially for introverts. Also, I would love to continue this conversation, so make sure you connect with me on Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. I'll see you back here next week.